To order, all members are present. First item on the agenda is pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 3 is a consent agenda item. It's discussion, action of the 2025 financial statement. That's A. B is discussion, action of contract with Energy Systems Group, EFG, for boilers at Hillsborough Elementary School, electrical hot water heaters at Mornington Middle School, and central office board notification, redoing it, whatever. Do I have a motion?
That made.
Mr. McCombs made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. McNabb seconded. A first, there's no objections to discussing it, that's what we're here today. Now, B, discussion or action for the contract.
Wait a minute, she's ready to talk about the financials.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. I'd like to take an opportunity to thank each of you for coming here out of your time, out of your busy schedule to attend a special board meeting.
Miss Hamilton,
Yes,
can
ma'am.
I make sure you get this book here out?
I got it.
Okay, everybody get this book out. Thank you.
So that we can review the unaudited financial statement for FY 25 before it's submitted to the state. Additionally, I'd like to thank Mrs. Sherry Radcliffe for her hard work and efficiency. FY 25 was Sherry's year. Pocahontas is in a good shape so that we can make solid decisions while incorporating some needed change. To that, I'm very grateful. Pocahontas County Board of Education's financial performance provides an overview of the board's financial activities for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. Though much of the information that you're going to find in that binder is needed for the state so they can utilize data analysis and comparison, I'd like to highlight a few areas that are of great interest to us. If you'll turn to me with your first tab, there's a little plastic tab, just turn there. And we're going to go over a little bit on our income page, and you'll see some revenues and expenditures. On the first column on the left, it'll be the 11 fund. You'll see that's our main general current expense fund. It's not restricted. It's on the left-hand side of your page. We have state and local funds that'll be there. So let's go through that a little bit. You're going to look down and you're saying, woohoo, we've got 6.7 million. Where does that come from? That's your property taxes are 5.8. We have a little bit of an increase from last year, like a $600,000 increase. Then you have your state sources of 10 million. That's from the state. Drop down, and then we're going to get into some of your expenditures. Instruction, you'll see is 8.3 million. Drop down a little further, and you'll see we've got, it'll be broken up. We've got some student services. You've got supporting services like your therapists and your aides. Continue down the list. You'll have your operation and maintenance of facilities expenses. You'll see that's a little over 2 million. Transportation is a little over 2 million. So outside of your instruction, these are going to be your two biggest expenses, and they're going to keep climbing a little bit.
Transportation. Is that what you're talking about? It's gonna be- Now, how much, we get some money back for transportation and fuel cost, right?
You'll get 95% back.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And that's how we keep our 11 fund balance.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. Thank you.
Sure.
There's credentials we have to meet for that too, like for meetings that I have to attend, that kind of thing, can we? Make
Yes,
sure that we do get those credits.
thank you, Jordan.
Let's continue on down your list. You're going to see, okay, so we have our total expenditures of being 15.6 million. We also have to think about our transfers in and transfers out. That's that next little section in there. That comes where we take money out of our 11 fund and have to put it into our 61 fund. That's our special projects fund. A lot of that is the child nutrition. So we have to roll that on over. But if you continue down, you'll see a net change in fund balances. We have a little over $600,000 increase. And these are the bottom lines of what you all are looking for. Continue down the page. We have what we started with in our 11 fund of being a little 6.4, and our ending balance for June 30th, 2025 will be a little over 7
million.
Yes, sir. Turn the page back one, you'll see where some numbers roll into that. Drop down on your 11 funds, you're still on the left-hand side of the page. This will be your balance sheet where you're gonna look for your assets and your liabilities. And you drop down with your green line there across, that's your unrestricted funds that we can use. And you still wind up with the restricted and the unrestricted, you're coming up with your, just a little over 7 million right there. That's how we can roll it back and prove we're right. If you pull onto your second page, your second little tab, there's a few things I just want to bring your attention to, because this has to go into the paper, and I want you to know your names will be in the paper. So I don't want to surprise you. I'd like you to be aware of it.
It won't be the first.
And that'll be your supplement of schedules of expenditures, where we pay you all, of course, we had paid Becky, so she was in there too. Also, which will be displayed in the paper, will be your non-salary expenditure. Anybody that we paid above $250 will have to be listed in there. So we've got, 5.8 million will be listed in there. Few more pages back.
Back or forward?
Back this way.
Back.
This is kind of, it's nice to know that our schools, we have to bring all the schools into our big financial statement. But it's nice to know that they're solid too. And this will prove that. Your high school with a cash ending balance of, 440. But with them, we have to pull out some scholarships that still have to be paid. We're gonna pull 8 from them for their huddle. But all the schools are in good shape. One more page will be, for curiosity, I'll let you know what federal awards we were given of a 2.1. And beyond that will be our state grants that we were awarded. So, what does all this mean for us? How are we headed into 26? We're headed into 26 pretty good. We're now in good shape. We can meet the needs of the recent upgrades to the high school and the upcoming renovations and the maintenance necessities. Though we may not hold as high of a carryover, we will meet the needs of our students and our staff and the community, and we should be able to go in holding our heads strong.
That's great.
Do you all have any questions?
Back to the one with the schools, something that I get like a question about a lot of times is about sports. Does each school have their own account for sports? Is there a
Yes, they each have in their general checking account.
okay?
There's a subline item for their athletics.
Right,
Of
right.
course, the high school is busted out into all of the, football, soccer, golf, all of it.
Each one of them has their own.
Each of them have a sub account in that name, yes. So and they can't,
Swap back and
Right.
forth. Okay, and now all of that money is tied in to this
I can
check?
do that,
It
yes.
is tied into this? Okay.
So the high school has $440,000.
Cause I get a lot of questions like sports wise. Well, one of them came up today. How come you all didn't give money to the volleyball? I said, well, that was the agreement that we had with volleyball,
Right,
so I didn't know
And
exactly how that works.
be created in their chart of accounts. Volleyball has their own.
But they have their own account.
Their own line item, so when money is deposited from their fundraising, it
Okay.
goes into there.
Okay,
And there's a checks and balances, so we're good.
I didn't know how all that worked, and I get a lot of questions on it. Thank you.
The state requires us to have a certain carryover percentage. What's that number? Do you know?
We would like to hold it at 10 to 15%. And they don't require that, but we would like to hold that. It's a good contingency to hold for us in case there's something where we have an MIP that we would like to put in through the spring for the roof. That would be wonderful if we get it, but if we don't, we still don't have to have our students suffer. We can still work with doing a roof.
Well,
We have
if it's,
to.
if you get matching funds for grants.
This is where we were able to come up with the SBA funds that we were able to take for county funds and put up. And so crossing our fingers in November, we're gonna hear some good news.
So the number that you're asking about is 3%?
3%, that's what I was looking.
Yes, and Sarah and I talked about carrying over between 10 and 15%. Another thing that's not in this budget, this is the 2025 budget. We still have our 2026 allotment that has unrestricted funds that we'll have in addition to that. So our unrestricted funds is not limited to the number you see, the 6 points. Let me find that number. It's not limited to, what page is that on, Sarah, the green?
Your first tab,
The 6.798,173. That is how much money we have right now in unrestricted. We will get, I believe our unrestricted that will come in will be about 3.1. So for the projects that we done at the beginning of the year, the projects that we have to do, and the projects we are going to discuss tonight, we have the money to do our projects and make sure that our needs are met in our schools. And I want there to be complete transparency moving forward. I've talked to Miss Hamilton about this. She's the recorder, financial advisor. But when it comes to financial questions about how much money we have and how much money we have to spend, it's a collaborative relationship. And ultimately, the board and superintendent makes decisions based on transparency of how much funds we have.
I just inform you, you all make the decisions.
So I think that's what I wanted to provide you with tonight, a bottom line number of how much money this Board of Education has.
So this is all based on the 1,400 funding cycle. You know.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
The law hasn't changed yet, so we're fine with that.
And it's probably not going to change.
Maybe you're gonna break it down for side of note. Central office, it's free notification that we're gonna do to the central office. Now, I know that, Energy Systems is gonna do the boiler and the hot water heaters and stuff like that. But it's a central office. Did we not put that out for bid in Pocahontas County?
Well, because we're already doing the boilers, the hot water heaters, we attach that to that Sourcewell contract to get it done as soon as possible.
I just thought independent contractors can do office in, like rebuilt, whenever they redid this office, they would probably be quicker. I'm just guessing, they'd probably be quicker and cheaper if we could get somebody local to do it. Because I remember Taylor's Construction, Dwayne, you helped me out on this.
I think it's Ryan.
Ryan and Drew, they redone the whole board office at one time. They got the contract. That was on the board. They got the contract. I'm just thinking out loud. Would it be cheaper to put that out there? Because we already got, we had to sign a contract where we pay them $25,000 or whatever.
Right.
But we are giving them a couple of jobs here. And
So let me talk a little bit about that. And then we
Okay.
can make a decision about that. So we still have jobs that needs to be completed. We still have 2 of the bathrooms at the high school that doesn't need to be complete, that's not completed. We're still putting the AC units in at Hillsborough Elementary. We still have all the renovations that Mr. Gibson and I walked around on, such as the steps at Marlington Elementary. Things are piling up. For Mr. Gibson to take on his plate, in addition to this, of putting out an RFP, because I would push that back on him hard. Because I have to start focusing on special ed. We have to move forward. The board office renovations was supposed to be done July 1.
yeah,
So, and I have put in as much time and effort to getting this contract in place, but I want the board to do what they want to do, but I do not want to delay this being done past December 3rd. I want this place ready to go December 3rd for when I go back down to the State Board of Education. But with that said, I think that, we can entertain a motion. I do have Audra Blackwell on the line if we have some specific questions for her regarding the contract. And then you can, pull something out, leave something on. And I don't know how the price is all aligned in there. I did put the price breakdown, but, do you want to unmute, Ms. Blackwell? Audra, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. The way that these Sourcewell contracts work with you hiring ESG through that process is that means you have met your competitive bidding requirements. We're basically taking this turnkey project off of your shoulders, putting it onto ours, and that does not mean we cannot hire local contractors to work on your office. We can do that, and that is something that we've talked to Dwayne about as well. So, he can provide us with contractors there locally. We've actually, our process is development, design, project management, and making sure that this project is done correctly for the county, making sure it's done on time, guaranteeing you a price for it, and that kind of thing. So, we always like to impact the local community by hiring local contractors if they are available. And that is something that we have already looked at doing through this process.
And I forgot to mention that she did ask, Ms. Hamilton and Mr. Gibson for the names of the local contractors to incorporate them into this. So what does that mean? That means that they'll manage the local contractors that's doing the job instead of me, myself, or Mr. Gibson having to manage that process. They'll hire them and manage them. It's
They'll
kind
sub
of-
it out.
Yes, subcontracted out, because I don't want to have to manage, and I don't want Mr. Gibson to have to manage, even if it's local contractors. I want somebody else to provide us with a turnkey project. Does that answer your question?
It does partly.
Okay.
The question I have, if you have ever been out there in the contract world in the last year and a half or 2 years and tried to hire a contractor, they're 6 to 8 months out. And we gotta get this done by December the 3rd. What's her name on the thing?
Ms.
Audra, you gonna guarantee us that this work's gonna be done by December the 3rd?
I also have my engineer on the phone as well, if you'd like to unmute him. But yes, we have looked at your project. We already have a schematic design in place that we've gone over with the staff, and we've committed to getting it done. And let's just say the majority, really making a whole lot of progress on all of these projects, not just your board office, but the boiler. Also, but mainly that board office has to be done by December the 3rd, getting the boiler ordered and installed. It'll take some time to get that boiler in. We can't move anything, like order anything, until the contract is approved. So, that's when the time starts clicking or ticking. And we also have a guaranteed price on this total, with a guarantee of no change orders to the county. And ESG, that's their expertise. We've done about $4.5 billion worth of these contracts. This is actually a small contract in our world, and we'll be able to get the contractors because we have a great relationship with contractors across the Eastern United States and the United States. So I think we can get it done.
What happens if it's not done? Are they a penalty at the end if you go to December the 15th?
I don't, David, do you know if there's a penalty in that?
No, but I understand your concern. The reality is most of these materials are available at Home Depot or Lowe's. We can get those on site very quickly. As soon as we have a contract, we'll be ordering those items and mobilizing our contractors. So we have a high degree of confidence that we can hit those dates.
Well, and you gotta realize where we're located, we're 40 miles from nowhere. So anywhere you have to go, if you need an extra board or anything, it's gonna be 40 miles to a Lowe's.
Well, that's one
That's
reason why we do a lot of planning ahead, and I'm sure David Reisman can attest to that too, because we've been on the phone a whole lot on this project, looking at our plans, you know, devising a plan for the office, going over it with the superintendent, with Dwayne, to make sure they're getting what they want and that kind of thing. So we're planning ahead so that hopefully we won't have to be running back to the store. And I have been to your office, and I've been to Pocahontas County a few times, and you know, we understand where you're located, but we're going to commit to getting it done.
Mr. Gibson, how do you feel about this? You're the guy that's gonna be in charge.
Well, in this case, they would be in charge.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, but you're,
Still gonna have to keep an eye on it.
you're our eyes
Right,
for the superintendent and the board. You know, we're gonna go with what you say.
right. I just like to see all the work done, so we just keep moving on with other projects too, because we do have a lot of maintenance at the other schools, and time is of the essence, for a lot of it. And with the three guys that we have working, time is limited as well.
Our maintenance guys, I hate to say this, but I feel like I've pushed them to their very limits.
Well-
Mr. Gibson, look at that smile on his face. They've been pushed pretty hard.
I understand. Any other questions from anybody?
Said what is it, 400, whatever thousands, that's
That's
a turnkey thing, everything is, the water heaters, the bureau, the work, and everything.
Yeah, and they provided that to us. Now, for the boiler system, I don't know if Dwayne wants to talk a little bit more about this. But we are, we're putting a seal in the one we have. We're putting a concrete pad down for the second one. And we're gonna have, Paul, do you wanna talk a little bit about that?
Plan on coming in, sealing one we have, pouring another concrete pad, moving the water heater that's existing down there, we'll have access to it later. Put the second boiler aside, and that will give us a backup boiler if there need one in the hill for a gym. Because right now we have one heat source in that gym, and that's it. If it down, we got nothing. So, you know, that way we at least have a backup there. With the HVAC things we're doing it, not part of this contract, but it was where that would give us a backup heat with the mini splits. Because there's only one boiler in the Hillsborough school. So if it goes down, we will have the heat in that school.
Hmm.
But it's really help out the long run, you know, by having the second boiler in the gym. That's what we're intending.
They're putting a water softener system in.
Right, there's gonna be a water softener system, one to protect the piping in it too.
Know about that.
So we're getting a lot. Mr. Gibson had actually asked about how much it would cost to do the water softener system for the whole school, but we just kind of moved forward because we want to get this project done because of temperature.
So do we need a motion to move this forward?
We didn't have a motion, we just got a vote on it.
Okay.
Are we ready to vote? Anybody got any other questions? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries, sign the contract.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 4 on the agenda is payment of bills subject to additions, deletions, or other changes prior to the board meeting. Payment of vendor listing for $70,273.16. September the 17th, 2025 payroll account, $276,356.68. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. McCombs made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Dr. Hollingsworth seconded. Any questions? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 5 is discussion action on the gym floor templates. Have a motion?
So moved.
Holmes made the motion. Have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. McNabb, second. If you want to talk to us about that?
Yes, first I wanted to talk to you about a decision that Mr. Gibson and I made with, regarding the stain on the gym floor. Mr. Gibson, help me with the name.
Gunstock is the name of the color for that 3-point circle.
The 3-point circle in Gunstock, and then after we met with the floor designer over there, the guy that's doing the gym floor, and I did some research. A lot of the other places just keeps the lane its natural color. So we went with the Gunstock and then the natural color. And then I wanted you to have some input into the design. This will be drawn to scale. There are some things I want to change, but I want to see what you want to change first before any decisions made. Get this up for the public, maybe hold it up so they can all see it real quick, and then we'll talk about it. Mr. Gibson, you want to unroll this? So,
So that same phone, remember how the black line border was sort of highlighted, but it wasn't there? On this one, these black lines are solid for that.
so it will be solid?
According to this, it is. See, if you look at that one, remember how they have it?
Yeah, see how they have that?
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, do we want it really big like that going outside of the center circle, or do you want the center, it shrunk down? So that's the question on the table. And then, I'm just worried about the way this looks right here. You see up there?
The W is outside.
The one,
I like it big.
you like it big?
Yeah.
Do you want Warriors the same size, or would you like to shrink it down or just keep it just like it is?
I like it like that.
I'm gonna go against him. I want Warriors inside the circle and leave the hatchets and feathers the same.
That's fine.
That's what's.
That's fine too. Make sure there's a center.
Hold on,
point.
1 and 1, 1 and 1.
That's
1
fine.
and 1.
Okay.
Warriors.
Inside the circle.
Just inside the circle to make that, because the way it goes through the W.
Yeah, I think that looks weird.
What about the hatches?
Okay.
Leave the hatchets,
Leave it.
they're the same size, big as they are. And a lot of other schools does have like the, logo, that's what I'm gonna call it, because I don't know what else to call it, big and outside the circle. I have looked at that. I'm just worried about the way the W looks, basically, is my only concern.
I'm like Mr. McNabb. I think it needs to go inside the circle.
It's fine.
I just think it looks better
Not gonna
inside.
make that much difference.
It's not going to, no. But if we can put it inside the circle,
Neater.
let's put it inside the circle.
And
That's, I don't know.
maybe if they could just space that down a little bit, but there has to be, where it goes right there on that yellow line just doesn't look 1,000%.
I think if they spaced it down, it'd be on the dark part of the thick part of the W.
Oh, that could
I
be.
think's why.
I think so too. I agree.
But if they could
Left
shrink it and put it all in there, I think it'd be better. In my opinion, it'd look better, be better for, when up jump balls and everything
That's
too.
what I was thinking. You coach basketball. You're the basketball
Yeah.
coach.
So do you want the line dark like that? And
Yes.
then they had it on this one like that?
No,
Do you want it all solid like that?
that'll make it easier on the officials and the whole 9 yards.
That's kind of what I was worried about too. And then down here, the tribe in Pocahontas is in a different lettering. And I really feel like they should be matching lettering. I like this lettering for down here too. I want it to be perfect.
Yes, it's what your idea.
Do you see this, like changing this lettering to be the same as that lettering?
Think so.
I think it's fine, you know,
Okay.
whatever, I don't know, it don't matter to me.
If we're giving you that, we're giving that to you. You
I
get
really don't matter. No.
Just wait till we redo the soccer field.
You need to get, we need turf.
I
We need
just
turf.
want to make sure that everything is multi-use, every use possible, you know, and that's what I want.
Mr. Gibson, what did he say about the volleyball court lines versus the basketball lines?
I think they're,
Can you show Mr. Gibson that?
yeah, I think if you go back over to. Okay. Right here, I think if you can get all the way over this line, that indicates volleyball's. Yeah, volleyball striping to be 2-inch wide white. They initially had this. On the last print, they had this being maroon. And I questioned it. They said, oh, no, this needs to be black. So they changed it to black paint now.
Okay.
And are those the correct feather colors? Because I've really stressed about these feathers.
That's got my vote. That's old school. That's
Yeah.
Hillsborough, Green Bank and Marlton.
That's where you're going three middle schools.
Yes,
and the
sir.
high schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
So once I email him this afternoon, it's a perfect done deal.
Done.
They won this Tuesday, wasn't it?
Yes.
Good.
We're, you sure?
Everything good?
It looks good. Golf gun, the color good stock was this one right here.
Yeah. Good. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carried.
Good job, Sam. Yeah.
Superintendent updates.
So I meant, and this is just going to be a quick little update. So one of the things that hadn't been done for a little bit with the board county office is just really sitting down and collaborating and communicating about our mission and our core beliefs, what we're about here in Pocahontas County when we serve our schools and how we work with our schools. So we all met together as a collective group and wordsmithed and came up with, we started our activity with everybody picking 3 things that was really important to them when it comes to students and learning in our schools. And we categorized that, and then we wrote a mission statement, and then everybody had an input. So our mission statement is Pocahontas County Schools strives to provide an engaging and supportive learning environment where every student is valued, empowered, and equipped to reach their full potential.
It was wonderful.
And then we took that to our core beliefs about what we believe our staff will do. And all staff will engage in a team and growth mindset, promote and model positive behaviors and dialogue, create a safe and supportive learning environment, establish high expectations for academic excellence. And we kind of wanted to mirror what we want our staff to do, to say all students can develop a team and growth mindset. We want to facilitate that in our students as well, display positive behaviors and constructive dialogue, contribute to a safe and learning environment, and meet high expectations for self-excellence, for academic excellence, and reach their full potential. And of course, our theme this year is We Are Stronger Together. So this mission statement will be our mantra this year. It'll be on every agenda. We'll read it before our meetings. I'll have a special place on there, all principals meetings, because we have a mission to accomplish these things for our students. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to look at it, see if there's anything you disagree with, you want to change before we do that.
I think it looks great, man.
I second it.
Oh, yeah, it's good.
We can accomplish this. You're doing great work.
I think we're all right.
I don't think
No, only if you want to change it. I just wanted to, okay,
you've done great.
that's all I have.
All right, board members' remarks. Mr. McCollum.
Put you in the spot. Help the tumble with that.
Not terrible, but could be better. I'm meeting with everybody yesterday, just to reiterate that at that point, we had 17 days of school, and I said, can you all tell me what 10% of our school year is so far? And they said 2 days. I said, how many of your kids have missed 2 days or more? Surprisingly, we don't have that many, but we have had some illness, and, so they're sick now. Doesn't mean that as we grow through the school year and we add more days, that our percentages won't decrease, because maybe they're not gonna miss anymore.
It seems like what I'm hearing out in the public is that student morale is up,
Yes,
which should
I agree.
directly
I agree with that as well.
activity.
Yes, and I think that helps tremendously, because when they feel welcome and comfortable at school, then they will be more likely to come more frequently.
Yeah.
I had a couple of hiccups with some folks going around, but I think we're leveling out. I've been looking at them, and in all fairness, we don't have that many of them as much. With the ones that have truly been sick, and they've been in contact, the schools administrators have been in contact with the families to touch base, make sure that they're
Wow.
their status.
They are documenting all this.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
We have a new attendance process in place. Do you want to give a little update
So
on
we've
that?
got tiered levels process and, they're the first layer that's at the school. So they've got a team in place and they're reviewing, they're gonna be reviewed weekly and then do celebrations. And, what they're doing is that not so much of a student, this is Monday, but if they would second day, there's a phone call home, to reach out, find out, is there anything we can do to help you, support you, share information. These have been pretty successful in making that communication with the families, just letting them know that we do care. And that process is working. When the student gets to 3 days, then they're looking, they're moved up on that layer. And 4 days, they're 4 and 5 days, they're looking at doing the Saturday meeting, depending on the reason for the absence of whether excused or unexcused, it's chronic because their bodies are not in the building. And then that's when they have that meeting called the parent meeting and make sure that we have everything in place to support them as necessary. When they get up to 7 unexcused, and that's when the red flag is coming. You know, obviously I'm communicating with them all, but at 10 days, setting down and having a truancy diversion meeting. And hopefully I'll be able to have probation come and at least join me with those meetings and have those conversations for that next level. And hopefully we don't have to go there. But, so far we haven't had to do those things. I've been working on some other stuff, but everybody's on board. They seem to have a good structure in place. They've got some incentives. We have the WB out there coming Monday to talk to all the schools. He's got a very tight schedule, but he's going to be talking to them. His main focus is on attendance and the importance of being present.
I do want to read you, Ms. Klein, interviewed 2 students about the school year, and her question was, she asked the 2 students, how they feel about the school year and how it's going. So the first question, she said, I talked to 2 randomly selected students while she was out participating at lunch. How are you feeling about the school year? The first student was a boy, it was a junior, and he said, I think everybody seems like they care more about what we're doing and what we're learning this year. The teachers don't put up with any mess around, so I guess it's okay. The second student said, well, I feel like I have to get, the second student was a girl, not sure what grade level. Well, I feel like I have to get to class on time. Perfect, right? And I feel like I have to be at school on time this year. I have a new friend who is a student, so I feel like we're going to make this a good year together. So that's 2 students that were asked about how they're feeling about the school year.
I will add to that, that this is word on the street. And this came from 2 boys and 2 girls. All 4 of them separately agree that this has been a good year. They really like the structure and the schedule. And they feel a lot more comfortable and safe.
We've been working very hard. So thank you for sharing.
Anything else more? Dr. Hollingsworth?
I'd just like to compliment all the work that Sarah has done to get this all together. I know that papers scattered all over the place, and Sherry was a big help with it, but you know, everything is going well with financially, and I think educationally, we're really moving along, and I'm hoping we're still putting the emphasis in the science of reading. I haven't heard much about that.
We are, days are running together, but it was either I think it was last week or maybe the week before, I had all of the principals in. And we looked at students' Scout scores, and we looked at where they are performing and what areas we need to improve on. And identified our students. Remember I showed you in that yellow block that can move? We've identified all those students. I've also had 2 meetings with Ms. Burke-Kinderman and Ms. Burns, facilitating a plan of how we're going to address our student needs and further advance those needs. So we do have that. We're planning on rolling something out around the first week of October. That's when we will start our teacher PLCs and help them understand where we're going and how to get there. We're starting with our social studies adoption and writing from sources, which is part of the scientific.
And special ed is,
Special ed is trucking along. They are working so hard. I have asked, Miss Bland to be the substitute, director for certification for, certified list. Lydia is making sure that all the IEPs are corrected in all errors. Miss, Hammonds has been working on our errors to make sure all of our data is correct for the October 1 count. I mean, I don't think a lot of people knows that there's an October 1 count where we have to have all that correct, and we have to have all of our certified list and all of our attendance information correct. So there's a lot of background work going on to make sure that we are making the corrections.
Anything else?
no, I don't.
Mr. McNabb?
Things sound real good. I'm very impressed with everybody's work, the whole staff.
Mhm.
Like I say, I think we need to keep on. It's paying off. We can already see a difference in the students and in the community. And I think we're headed in the right direction. We just got to keep going. Thank y'all for all your work.
Mr. Gibson?
I don't have anything, sir. I would, we're almost at, where we at, week 4, so we're almost at midterms. We'll be able to have, it's been pretty smooth. I would caution starting any projects, too much later than this, because winter's coming hard and it'll be here quicker than we know it. And, I would just think we want to get things finished up quickly as we could.
I agree.
That's all I have.
No more projects.
How far are we? Anything else, Mr. Gibson?
No. Okay.
How far are we away from the Bullard at Hillsborough cranking up? Because,
Top leak in that one, probably this coming Tuesday.
okay,
I just sent Aaron a message here a while ago while we were thinking about it. And that should solve that one for right now, and then they're gonna get the other roads as quick as possible.
I was a little bit worried about the weather.
I've been sweating over this for 2 months.
Yeah. I was a little, one morning we'll get up and it's gonna be 20. And then we got,
Ice on the windshield twice.
that's right, and we gotta remember, we got,
Condition is working.
yeah, that's exactly right. But we gotta remember them small children in Hillsborough. So we gotta keep heat down there or we'll be in trouble. Sarah, thank you. Thank you and your staff, Sherry and everybody, for getting this together. And I've told Sarah this privately a few times, so she knows this. You've got to be very careful with financials because it's like a snowball effect.
Mhm.
You can be in the good and in the good, and all of a sudden when you start going down, it starts rolling and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And we're seeing that in some counties. So we want to be very careful and I'm a very conservative person. So,
Me too.
I lay on the edge of poison, but I've seen that happen in jobs and other things that, once it starts turning the other way, you get in trouble. And
The number one reason people lose their jobs.
that's well, yeah, it's kind of difficult to try to stop it once it starts. But there you go. That's it. I want to recommend our superintendent, though. You've done a great job since July the 1st, and we are I think the whole board is very
Yes.
proud of what you've done. We're proud of our maintenance staff and Mr. Gibson and Mrs. Dunlap, and also our principals and our teachers, because they've done a great job. They're the first ones out there, the bus drivers, you said this. They're the ones that our students see first.
That's right.
And, we can sit in the office here and all of us and say, we got to get this done, but they're on the front lines. They're the ones that's making it happen. And if we see a change in our students, it's the teachers that's doing that. And the cooks and everybody along the way. So it takes all of us to form this team.
And our team out in the county, our teachers, our bus drivers, our cooks, and the central office are second to none in the state.
The one thing that always comes back to mind on mine, there's two things really. One of them is we've got somewhere around 130 to 150 homeschool kids. And, they're just going to Pocahontas County schools is like going to a private school in other places. Do we, and I've asked you this, I think, do we have people going out like community and schools and talking to these people and saying, hey, we got a great thing going here. Maybe you ought to think about bringing these children back to the school, whether it's Martin Elementary or Hillsborough, Green Bank. And, say, we're doing some good things.
That'd be a good job for the president of the Board of Education.
I don't I really don't mind going and talking to these people.
You'd like to talk to.
Yeah.
I made a living talking. I mean, I can do that. But we have.
I'll make a
community schools.
motion.
We got Miss Wilfong at the high school and some other ones. Could we do
We
that?
are going to look at our homeschool policy and how we work with them and how we recruit students back. That is not on our front burner right now, but
Well, I
it will be
understand that.
mid-October. We are going to work on that, absolutely.
And the other thing that I bring up about every meeting is a pro officer at Pocahontas County High School. That really bothers me.
Well, I would like you to know, I sat down with Miss Hamilton. Let me back up. I've got to get everybody in the right slots to get every position funded. And then after that, I do believe that we will have a slot available because we're slightly under in our professional staff where we could look at that, having a pro officer. We could look at that. So that is something that we sat down and we looked, how many are we? Are we any over? And moving people to the right slots and making sure those are funded ties into that. So I am working on that, and I probably the next meeting, we'll know, because it's October 7th. Certified list goes in October 1. We'll know. October 8th is the final one. So I will be able to tell you October 7th if we can get a pro officer and how we got to discuss how we want to do that.
Yeah. Does the state put any money for that anymore for safety or?
They do not. You have to absorb that cost. But I think we have a slot where we could.
Thank you very much.
You're
Thank you for all, and like I say, thank you for all your hard work, because you really made a difference. Our next Board of Education meeting will be held on Tuesday, October the 7th, 2025 at the Pocahontas County Board of Education office at 6 a.m. We are hereby, 6 p.m. We are hereby adjourned.
He's on